Welcome back to another episode of the Reading Black Girls podcast. I'm Kayla.
I'm Alex.
I'm Aziza.
I'm Denisha, and we're the Reading Black Girls. Welcome back to another showing. Can you guess what we read this time? Oh,
It's very
I
on
gave it away.
trend right now.
Yes, because
That's a good hint.
a little company called Hulu,
Felicia.
Felicia has this coming out as a limited series very soon. Drum roll.
Kindred from one of our faves, Octavia Butler.
Certified TRBG fave. Certified. So shout out Z. Yes, this was her pick, correct?
This was my pick. Oh yeah, this was my pick.
Wow.
I
Finally.
forgot.
Fantastic
yes.
choice. Fantastic choice.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, let's let the people know what this book was even about in case you haven't heard of it. Yes, Hulu is coming out with a show, but Octavia Butler wrote this years and years ago, and it is about a 1970s woman. She discovers her connection with a 1700s white man. She gets transported to Antebellum, Maryland, whenever this man is in trouble, and each time she gets called back, her stay becomes longer and more dangerous.
Oh, damn.
So, dun, dun, dun,
Can you
dun.
imagine being
Child.
yanked?
By one of my white ancestors? Boy, you.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, I said multiple times while reading this, I was like, I literally could not imagine being put in this situation. There is a reason I was born in the time period I was born in.
Okay.
I am not my ancestors. I wouldn't have
Yes.
made it.
And people who
So,
say that in a way like, I'll somebody up. Oh, I'm not supposed to be cussing. I'll mess somebody up. Da 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 da. Do you know what the heck they
Don't be
were going through?
disrespectful.
Don't be
right,
disrespectful.
like
We could
Like,
never.
come on.
you literally are
Never.
not your ancestors.
We
Like,
have toilet
you could
paper.
never.
We have toilet paper. Whew. Can you survive without toilet paper?
Nope.
No.
Okay. All right.
Point proven.
But before we
There
get
you
any
go.
further, can we get a little trigger warnings? Because this book is very heavy.
Yes. So,
Yes.
trigger warnings for slavery
Hmm
and everything that encompasses that, sexual assault, racial slurs, violence, murder, torture, suicide, and self-harm. So it had a lot going on. And that on that. Yeah.
Right.
So just be warned before you pick up that book that there are many a theme that follow those things. But yeah, at this point, you can continue to listen. But if you're someone who doesn't want spoilers or haven't read this book, which at this point, I also don't know who hasn't read this. But if you haven't, you should, and then come back and join us.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Perfect. So bye.
All right,
The
y'all.
rest of y'all, let's go. So,
Oh,
what
this
did y'all
book was
think
so
of this?
wild.
This book was crazy. Just from, I think the prologue when she woke up without an arm was like a good touch.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like,
What the
I
hell?
love that the prologue is the end,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really
Mhm.
know that. I'm like, damn, sis, when the is she about to lose her arm? But yeah, we come to find out that's at the end. But the first chapter after the prologue is when Dana gets yanked back immediately. And it really reminded me of a movie that I used to watch so many times as a child. I think y'all can agree. I watched Black Knight. So it was Black Knight with Martin Lawrence. y'all ever watch
Yes, the Black
when he
Knight.
got-
Yeah.
when
And
he
he went
fell
back
into
to
the
medieval
moat.
times. Yeah.
That like really came to mind.
I've
Oh my
And I was
God.
like,
seen that.
I've always loved that,
Me
period
either.
piece. And the idea of Black people, current times, Black people getting yanked back in time is just a concept that for fiction, I find very entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, in the
It's
movie, it
always
was
good.
funny. You know, it was a comedy, of
Yes,
course. It was
comedy.
hilarious. But in reality, like getting
Right.
yanked back
Crazy.
to Antebellum South, please spare me. No,
And they
thank
were
you.
like,
Good.
this was in like Ocean City, like Salisbury, Maryland. Let's get that together. Like,
That's
this
true.
isn't
So it wasn't
in King
too
Hmm.
deep,
County,
deep.
Baltimore, like nothing. This was in Ocean City. And if y'all know anything about the DMV area, Ocean City is honestly West Bumba. I've only been there once in my how many years have I lived here? One time.
Yeah.
And
I've been
yeah,
there
it was
twice.
just fields and fields of nothing.
Hmm.
So I can only imagine what our main character Dana really had to go through running around there.
Low key, I'm like, man, it would have been a lot worse if she was like in Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. It could have been so much
Yeah.
worse.
Absolutely,
It
because
could have been
she
worse.
knew how to read. She was like, people could tell she
That
was
part.
clearly educated, and that immediately caused problems for her. So it's a good
Yes.
thing she
Yeah.
wasn't further
They
south.
really said, "Why are you talking like white people?"
Why are you talking like she
Why you
really
talk
thought
like that? You want to be
after that
white,
first
don't you?
after that first time she came there, she was like, okay, if I ever get yanked back, like, I mean, I do know how to read, like, I should be in a better position than, slaves in that time. Like, she just separated herself immediately from others
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
look like her, sound like her. And she thought for, I feel like half of that book that she was different. She was on a different level. And it took so many times and so many instances where she got her ass beat, got chewed out, got
Mm,
cussed out, whatever, to
mm,
figure out, wow, I am just like them. It doesn't really matter
right.
Yeah,
that I
I thought
can
she
be
would have
or
figured it
Picked up
out
on
a
that
lot
sooner.
a
sooner.
lot sooner.
A
Absolutely.
lot sooner than what
Yeah.
she did. And I also didn't expect her experience to go as far as it did with some of the
Facts.
things. Like, you, she was just going through a lot. But before we even get into her experiences, I was so surprised because her modern day was in the 70s.
Hmm.
And so I was just really surprised, like, when she got yanked back into time and her husband Kevin, like, they were discussing it, she was like, I gotta read up, I gotta do some research. I was like,
You ain't know about
you
none of
don't
that?
know what's going on?
She had
Like,
to refresh.
Yeah, I think she
It
just
seemed
needed
that she
to
just
get
had
a
to
better
refresh.
account.
okay, so you think
Yeah.
she just needed like a deeper understanding?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, it
Okay.
because
was like
I think
surface
Okay.
level.
we all have a surface level understanding of, some of the conditions of that time, but when you actually read, nonfiction, I know you guys trigger warning, nonfiction. But to get a better, deeper understanding of the accounts, and when she was talking about, oh well, people died from eating not well cooked food, and there were so many different infectious diseases running rampant during this time. Let me make sure, like when I start to go back, and I know I have to go back, let me pack a bag with stuff so I'm not,
That was so
you know,
smart on
That
her part.
aspirin was
Hmm.
That was one of the
genius.
smartest things she did, like taking
She
that
stayed ready.
And that was
bag of
like after
stuff.
the first trip back or the second
Hmm.
trip back
yeah.
when
Right. She said, "Oof,
she
I
said, I
cannot be
got
caught
to
off
get a
But
guard
bag.
honestly,
again."
I don't even think it was her that was it her that made that bag originally, or Kevin who made the bag for her.
It
I
might
think
have
it
been
was her, but
I feel like he
I
helped
thought
her
it was her.
though.
But
I
he
think
did
he
help
helped.
her because the
Yeah.
second time around, he got her a different bag that was like more inconspicuous, so she wouldn't
Hmm.
like draw attention to
yeah.
herself. Which was thoughtful because when Kevin got brought back with her,
Ooh.
Ooh.
Why did
that
his
was
dumb ass hold on to her?
The
Because they were
way
like,
That made
they
me
were
so
scared.
mad. That made me
I
so
right.
mad.
when
So
he
you would
got
have let
sucked
him
into it, I
go?
really was like, "Oh, this about to go all the
No,
way
I would have
left."
pushed him away
Well,
because
I
for
mean,
real, like, she was really afraid. Like, if we're anywhere else, like if we're in a car, if we're in a hospital, if
Yeah,
we're
she would
anywhere
not
else, and
drive.
I leave and I'm
Mhm.
gone, like, what the hell is gonna happen?
mhm.
That stuff was scary.
Which is
So
a
But he,
really realistic question to have. Like, if I
yeah,
leave, what's going to happen? If I come back, am I going to come back in the car or where I was when I
Right.
left, which could be on a highway? So I
yes,
like that part. I was like, that seems like how we would think if we were snatched out of our time.
Mhm.
facts. I also think Kevin came along because after that second trip that she had, when she was stopped by the patroller and beaten by him and almost about to get SA'd by him, she
Mm-hmm.
was like, she came back and Kevin was like, "What the hell happened to you?" And she explained it. And then I think that caught him in a fright. And he was just
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, this is real. Like, let's troubleshoot this so that you don't get caught up in an experience and like that again." And I'm glad, like, as a white man, he did say, well, it would be best if I was there because I wouldn't be in the same situations that you would be in. And if we're together,
Yeah.
then maybe we
Yeah.
could finesse a little something so that you don't
Mm-hmm.
get sexually assaulted again or beaten or sold or whatever, because, you know, the possibilities for a slave were limited but still very serious.
Yeah. I thought that
Um,
was smart on his part to
right.
at least think of that aspect. Like, I'm in a different situation than you, so at least let me protect you in the only way that I can, which is
So I'm gonna
by,
come.
yeah, so I'll be there with you. So I thought that was for the hand that they were dealt, considering she never knew when she was getting pulled. She didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
long she was going to be gone because the time was extending. That seemed like a smart choice.
I'm not gonna lie though, when she got pulled back to her own time, when she was getting whipped and he was running towards her and got left, stressed me the
He could.
hell
He
out.
wasn't fast enough.
I
He needed
really
to be a
was
little
like,
faster.
this is a mess because now when you go back, how
How
much
much
time will
time
have
has
passed?
passed?
Exactly.
And I feel like that was the wildest part. Like I was steady trying to do math while she was like sharing, like, oh, this time I was gone for what, 3
She was
days, and it
gone.
was
Yeah.
only like 5 minutes their time or something. I'm like, okay, what's the ratio here? What's
Then she
And
we're
it
was
trying
gone
to
for
figure
wasn't the
this
like
out.
same.
eight
Mathematics.
months,
Like
and
the
then
little
it would
And
be
math.
it was
like,
only like 3 hours. Because
Yeah.
3 hours was like, I think it was only
Or
like
eight
3 hours.
days. 8 days, and then it was like what, 5 years had passed or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Like,
Till she got called back
what's the
again.
ratio?
Right.
I
And then
still don't know.
she came back and
Immediately.
Kevin had left
Cha.
Maryland. I said, why didn't you stay your ass right down there so you
5
knew
years is a
where she
long time,
what
child.
Could y'all stay
Especially
in that
back
Rufus
then.
household?
at maybe at
Hell
Rufus'
no.
household, no, but I would have stayed in the area.
Yeah,
Just made a
that's
little
fair.
little
Maybe
I mean,
shack,
yeah.
Baltimore. Maybe a
little
little
trapper shack.
Baltimore.
That
Yeah,
was still far
something.
as they had to get all the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
through the bay
I
on a
mean,
little
it's better
tugboat.
because they were sending the letters where originally New York,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
And
Oh
then
God.
somewhere up to like
Massachusetts.
Boston.
Bro went all
Boston.
the oh yeah, bro went all the way up to Maine. Like he
That's
was
what I'm
just
saying. Like
traveling.
he really dipped out. And granted, we don't know what Kevin went through on his side. Quite frankly, as a white man, I wasn't concerned about him over there. I was like, he'll figure it out. But if you knew she might have come back, I was like, why would you leave?
Can I be
Especially
honest?
knowing who
Yeah.
those people were that like she was being left with.
So she knows that anytime she comes back, it's to save Rufus's life. He should have just tried to
Mhm.
kill Rufus. She would have came back immediately.
Oh, that was smart.
That's a good
That is
point.
smart.
Idea. I feel
That's
like
a good
Kevin was just
idea.
trying to make a difference with the time that he had. Like he was like, well,
While
this
I'm here, I'm gonna
while
teach
I'm
some
here, I
folks
might
to
as well,
Yeah.
you
read.
know,
Yeah,
try and
Might
do
as
a
well
little
help
something,
some
something
runaways.
yeah,
as best
He
as he
did.
can.
He
And
did end up doing that.
he
That's
did
true.
use
but
his
he
time
should have
pretty
threatened
wisely.
Rufus just to
Yeah,
Get
he
her
should have
back.
tried to kill him a
him
little
or
bit.
something.
But low key, like
Dana would have popped back.
Rufus was turning out to be a terrible person, so him like
Oh,
almost dying wasn't like the worst thing.
it was happening so frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
His
was
whole
like,
life.
literally,
going
since
Really
he
was
was
on?
a
just putting himself in
child.
danger all the time. I'm like, you're
All
really,
the
really
time.
making some bad decisions,
Well,
sir.
because remember one of the last times when she found him like face down in the mud,
About to
and she
drown
was
his
like,
drunk.
"What?"
To
Right,
drown.
and she was like, "Why do
Hmm.
you keep doing this?" And he's like, "Sometimes I just don't feel like life's worth living." And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, why
Suicidal
do you
much?
like this?
Rufus.
Why do you act like this?
Not to be dramatic, but you're a white man with land and property.
What's so bad about it?
What is so bad?
I
I
mean,
mean,
his
you
daddy
know,
was kind
He's
of
like, I
bad.
have
I
no
that's true.
purpose. Don't you
Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
understand?
That's
Well, he
true.
didn't.
That's true. That's true.
But did he not have purpose because I think it's because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, you never want to make some shit shake. Like, you
Never
was
wanted
always
to
just
write, never wanted to read.
Didn't want to be
got
like
mad
his
when she started
daddy.
teaching you. Like, it,
Okay. Your mama get on your nerves. Your
Ooh,
ooh,
he
his
couldn't
mama
just
was
and his mama.
irritating.
He
his
said,
mom.
"Get the hell out of here! I'm trying to listen to
outta
Dana
here."
read."
That made me laugh
The
so
audiobook,
hard.
The
the
audiobook was
audiobook,
Scream.
it was
her
good.
impression of Rufus
Was
was
Oh,
just
hilarious.
so good.
spot on and hilarious. Like, Dana, do you believe
Dana.
that?
Dana.
Dana,
Dana. Listen here now, Dana. Like,
now you
Oh,
listen
boy.
here now, Dana. You can't do stuff like that, Dana.
Dana, Daddy's gonna hear you call me Roof and he's gonna get mad.
He gonna get real mad. And don't even get me started about Mama.
It's a really good impression of that.
The second I heard Rufus's voice
voice.
in the audiobook, I just cackled. Like, I was just like, wow, this is how I would think a redheaded,
Yeah.
white-blooded American living in Maryland in the 1700s sounded like.
It was spot
And his
on.
daddy sounded exactly spot on too.
Yeah.
His stupid.
I'm- I'm surprised they didn't have more of a reaction to Dana coming back, especially when especially the father, like when time kept passing and the father was getting
like-
older and he was like,
You look the same.
right.
Like,
I would have been like,
okay.
witch.
You ain't
like,
got no
how many
sense.
times
Kill
do
her.
I have to tell
Yeah,
you?
witch. No, seriously, I would have been witch. Definitely would have been giving witch.
Burn her. She's
Burn
a
her at the
witch,
stake.
y'all.
I was surprised that it wasn't related. Like, Dana never even thought in her own monologues, like, am I magical? Is this the reason why I can do this? Like, she just kind of accepted
Yeah.
that this was her predicament that she was
Mhm.
in. Like, this was just a
Mhm.
thing that she could do. Never even thought further than that. Like, could my ancestors do this too? Or is this like, I don't know, like legend born dream walks or blood walks or whatever? Like, it wasn't anything. She never thought about it. And I mean, this is a science fiction, so maybe because it's not like a fantasy, we didn't bring magic in.
Let's talk about that because there was like no literary element that explained this phenomenon.
Yeah,
Because
it was-
why the
They
hell?
just
She said,
accepted
"And
it.
there
Everyone
won't be."
accepted it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And get over it. Okay.
And she
That's
just
what
pretty
we're
much like
doing.
figured it out like, okay, well, I saved him several times when he was about to die. He has to be my distant ancestor. So for some reason, I'm being called back to save him so that my,
Yeah.
family and bloodline can exist.
We'll continue on.
Yes. And she's
So
like
that
trying
she could
to
exist.
hold on until her ancestor Hagar is born,
Mm.
you know?
The way she
And
lined it up, she was
she
just
just
like,
pieced
that
it
name sounds
together.
so familiar.
Said
I seen it in my,
Hagar.
and everybody has an uncle that has our family tree or something like our family. Do we all have
Mhm.
that?
The keeper
We all
of
have,
the
like,
family
The
tree.
keeper of the family line of
Mhm.
like since the first like freed slave until then on. That's just a thing with Black families that we
Someone
do
has
have.
to try and do the
But- And then she
genealogy.
just remembered like Alice Hagar. That sounds
name is
hella
familiar.
familiar.
Mhm.
It's got to be on that family tree. And the way she linked it up, it was really quick. Like, she linked it up in that second
Mhm.
chapter.
Boop, boop, boop. Just like that.
Like,
Because
and
she
then
really was like, "Why is this happening to me?"
right. She
She
was
said,
like,
"This ain't
Rufus,
ri- this
now
ain't
tell me,
right."
who are you?
was
Tell me
What's
a little bit
valid
more
age.
about you.
Rufus.
And she
Rufus.
said,
And
"Oh,
She's like,
we're
how you
being
spell your name?
related."
How you spell your name? Waylon? Your name's
Mm.
Waylon? How you spell that? Oh.
How you feel?
Oh,
Mm.
he must be one of my distant ancestors. I'm being called back to save him. Now I have to keep him alive.
For my
That's
own
like-
existence.
I don't
Just
think
until
that's
Hagar is
something-
born.
That's not something I could personally accept.
Right.
I'd have been like, I will end all of us right now. He will have to die and so will I because this is too much. I'm
The
being
line
whipped.
ends with me.
The line-
Yeah,
I'm being whipped for what?
it was a lot
Yeah.
going on. Like, she was really immersed in that experience.
Yeah.
So do
I
y'all
just-
agree with Dana's like plan, her quest? Like, do you agree? Like, I mean, what else was her other options? Like, she had no say in when she got yanked back. She was just like, well, I guess this is the reason why, and I'm gonna have to stick beside it and protect Rufus with everything that I have.
Right.
Yeah.
And she even was like trying to see almost like nature versus nurture. She was like, maybe if I plant enough good memories, like
Yeah.
from
Isn't
me
enough,
reading to
child.
him, that when he's
Can
older and he's in charge, maybe things will be better for the people here. But I
That
don't know if she
nurture is
completely
strong.
succeeded though.
I don't think she,
Because
maybe a little
To
bit, but
me,
I don't really think she
I
succeeded
don't
very
think it
well.
I don't think so at
succeeded
all.
at all because he still assaulted Alice, who he'd known
over and over
Hmm.
forever.
and over again.
Like he was selling off his property, the enslaved people, separating the families. Like he slapped her, which had always been like this unspoken rule
Hmm.
Between
between
them.
them, like that we don't hurt
Hurt
Put our
each
each
hands.
other.
other because
Mm-hmm.
we like it could just have really bad consequences. I just I don't get how she thought her few sprinkles of
Of little
influence
Mhm.
were going
Was gonna
to overwrite the type of man that he was destined to become based on
Yeah.
like who his parents were.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate the thought, like you
Yeah.
thinking that, but like be for real because by the time the book kind of ended, Rufus was what 25 and she'd
Yeah.
been
It was
pulled back for what 5 times with
that was
8 months being the
sixth time.
longest. Six
Oof.
times with like
Yeah.
8 months being the longest. Like
Mm.
me knowing somebody for 8 months in the 25 years that
Isn't gonna
I've
make
been
that
alive, that's not
much
going to
of an
make that much of a
impact.
difference. So sorry.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, he
sorry.
was definitely his father's son.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah, he
I
was
boy,
think
was
daddy's
that
son,
he
all
when
Our
right.
I think
daddy's
when he
son.
was younger, she definitely made an impression on him for sure.
Yeah.
But there's some things you can't overcome, you know? And her being away for large periods of
Mhm.
times and him just becoming like this mean, drunk,
Mm-hmm.
Jealous.
cruel, jealous, yeah, person. I'm like, baby, that give up that quest.
Right.
Nurture could not overcome
I mean,
nature in this
right.
instance. Was not strong
Facts.
enough.
So, and
Mm.
then also, how do we feel about Alice? The character of Alice and what she represented and everything that she went through. Like, poor Alice, I could
Mm.
honestly see all of her viewpoints and all of her actions. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be that nice to Dana. I'm going to take all my
That
shit
was
out on
funny to
Dana.
me. That was funny as hell to me. She was
Right.
cussing Dana out as much as she could, anytime she could. And she's like, I'm only doing it because I know you won't hurt me back. And Dana was like, well, that kind of hurts my feelings too, sis. So
And
let's bring it to
everyone was
you.
everyone was like, "Why are you letting her talk to you like
Talking
this?" And she's like,
Like,
"Eh."
She's like better me than, anybody else. So I'm gonna just let her go.
Like,
just let her.
what?
But Alice was reading Dana,
Alice
up
read the
reading
and
the fuck
fuck
down,
out
out
of
of
baby.
Dana.
Dana.
Up and
She was like, "Let
down.
me tell you here. You see how everybody says we look exactly alike? You are no different than me, baby.
Period.
Like he uses me the same way
And
that he
he's
uses
using
you."
you just in a different way. T.
T.
Mm.
She
But
read the
honestly,
fuck out of
I
her.
think Dana wouldn't have had as many issues if she embraced, I feel like survival
Community.
skills. Let's get the survival skills to kick in. And I don't remember if it was Alex or Aziza who said that, but her trying to separate herself from the beginning,
For more than half of the
very
book.
much
Yeah.
not smart, baby. If you don't get in
Yeah.
that kitchen,
I mean,
And
she was getting in the
commune with
kitchen,
the
like
people.
she was trying to, but she wasn't communing with everybody,
yeah.
and she
Yeah.
was
Mm-mm.
still like viewed as this elite negress, and the other Negroes didn't like that. Why would
They did
they?
not.
And like
I
she
wouldn't
couldn't see,
either.
like she couldn't really understand, like, okay, she understood like, okay, they don't like me because I'm treated differently, but I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm not gonna like
Hmm.
make she tried to make things better
Mm.
for them. She tried to use that privilege and elitism like to
True.
make things better for them, but she got
It
herself in
wasn't
more
enough.
trouble doing that than helping them. She was trying to get
Right.
them to read, like, and I get that. It's really helpful for them to learn how to read and write with like, the whole note system that they could
Mm-hmm.
use to like
Hmm.
leave and
But it
stuff.
was
But
also really dangerous
girl, she
and
was so hot.
got
She was
some of
just so
them
hot.
caught up.
Them just sitting there reading in the kitchen.
How did
Like,
that ever sound like a good idea to you, Dana?
You cannot be for real. Oh my God, you for real.
girl,
be for real right now.
She
Dana.
needed light though. They needed light from the fire to be able
Yeah.
to
No,
But
no, because you are not
wasn't
the
it the?
only
It was like
enslaved
the middle of
person
the
trying to
day.
learn.
Oh, I thought it was
Right.
at night.
No, they used
No,
no.
it's
You're thinking about
daylight.
history. You're thinking
Oh,
about history when they
sorry.
actually did try to learn how to read. No. The book, that was
It
literally
was
middle of the day.
daylight,
They said, "Oh,
which
they never come out to the cookhouse. We'll be all right."
they didn't even have a
That was so
lookout.
silly of her.
You weren't even
There was
facing
no like
the door so you could see who
two
was
knocks
coming
means
in.
someone's coming. Like
No, they were
no.
just like, let me
Which,
teach you how to read and going
Oh,
about their
Dana.
lessons. Like, you
Oh,
really about to
Dana.
get somebody strung up, Dana.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
right.
I'm glad Dana got low key beat for that and not like Nigel or any of the kids. Like she was trying to teach how to read. Like
'Cause
Dana
you
low
know
key
the
had to eat
rules.
that. Yeah,
Now
she knew
listen,
the risk.
defiance is definitely a part of rebellion and resistance, which
Mhm.
our ancestors did, but you got to be smart about it. She didn't
Mhm.
have those same like,
Yeah.
couth skills that the rest of them had.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
was just really hoping one of them, well, they would call her stupid. She didn't have sense, so they did say
They
that.
did call her stupid
They did
multiple
say
times.
all the time.
You
Poor
know who I
Dana.
kept thinking
Oh
of when
boy.
reading this was in Sister Mother Warrior, Gran Soyas, how she like had not the favor, but like kind of favor with her master and
Yeah.
kind of did what
Mm.
she wanted, but she was smart about
Yeah.
what she was doing, which by the way, y'all, if you have not read
Highly
that
recommend.
book,
Highly
Sister
recommend
Mother
Sister Mother
Warrior,
Warrior.
So
it's
good.
So
excellent.
good. Grand
Um
Soya.
yeah, so I kept thinking of
Heroine
her and I was
that we
like, we
love.
love a strong black smart heroine. I was like, but Dana was not as smart as I would have liked her to be. But I feel like realistically, like if I was actually snatched
Yeah.
back, it's
Right.
like no, maybe I
We would
might
take
have made
L's.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
would.
We would
take
take
L's.
many,
hello.
many a L.
Yeah. Now, granted, we could throw on little yes sir at the end of the song because she never did that. I was like, can
She
you
never did.
She
please
sure did
Do you
get
it.
with
remember
the
how long she was
program?
reading pants too? She was wearing pants for
She was
so
dressed like a
long.
man
Mhm.
for so.
And they'd be
If
like,
you don't go
Everybody
to
Why
"Why the
the hell
hell
you
you
Kindred,
dressed
dressed
like
like a
that?
man?"
Man,
you talking white, you dress like a man. I'm about
what's
to
that all
get you.
about?
Like, can you please try to blend in Dana? Like,
She said,
And
and
Alice
she was dark
"No."
skinned,
Alice had
so
the
she
sense to give her a dress like, can you stop walking around
Stop,
here in these damn pants?
please.
right.
Please put this dress on. Please.
And it's like every
Please.
time she had an option, she was like, well, I'd rather be dressed as a man than fill in the blank. And I'm like, why? You're
Like,
drawing more
girl.
attention to yourself, like as
Hmm.
a black person. And
She
she
was
was
trying
dark
not to give
skinned.
up
So
some
it's
of
like,
herself. Like she was trying to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
some of
she
her
wanted to keep
identity. But
her
I'm like, you gotta
autonomy.
blend
I
in
would have
Right.
gave it up so that I could
immediately.
survive without backlashes,
Hmm.
which she didn't, man. Like she survived, but she didn't come out
Barely.
unscathed. And I just can't believe that after everything that she went through, like seeing people be skinned alive
Mm.
and
Hmm.
tortured, and she herself like beaten and tortured, that at the end of the book, she still lost her arm. I couldn't believe that. I
I
said, Miss
Yeah.
mean,
Didn't
Butler.
her arm get stuck in like the wall or
That's
something?
what.
it was the
Yes.
wall, but it was
It was
because Rufus held on to her.
Yeah. So
Mm.
technically, this was Rufus' fault, like everything
Yeah.
Of
else.
course,
His
everything was
silly self.
Rufus' fault. But I'm
Everything.
just mad it resulted in her
Yeah.
literally having to lose a limb. Like, not that you can't survive in life without a
Yeah.
limb. We see people do it every
She
day.
just.
But I'm just like, why did that have to happen?
Let's
Did she
ask
not go through
Octavia.
enough?
Octavia, come to the stage. I'm joking. Um,
Obviously.
She said it was the beginning and the end. Duh.
Yeah. I think she
Yeah, it was.
also like
Perfect.
it was like her price for everything too. I feel like she
mm,
wouldn't have felt like she did enough, like or she lost enough. Like everyone that she knew in that time like lost so much. So her
Hmm.
also losing something like helped even the score or something like that. Like I think
hmm.
Dana as a person felt better now that like she gave something and it really counted. Like, she killed the fuck out of Rufus, and I was waiting for her to do that whole time, but she was
Mm-hmm.
waiting for her ancestor to be born. She was
She
like, how
said,
many kids did Alice have? That was
She
literally
said
like the
she's
fourth
pregnant.
child.
She's like,
again?
is
Yeah.
this Hagar?
Is this Hagar?
Please, Hagar,
Yeah.
come on.
What you gonna
Please,
name this
please.
one? And she heard Hagar. She said,
I
"Oh,
said, oh,
finally."
okay.
Finally.
Now
I
I
can
can
kill him.
put yeah. Now I can put the plan into action. That
But
was
her waking up in that last chapter, or the last time she got pulled back and literally looking up and seeing Alice swinging
Mm.
from a rope,
Mm,
and then turning and seeing Rufus.
very strong imagery. That
Like,
That,
whoa. It gave me
crazy.
chills. I'm just like,
yeah.
and I mean, the time that she left before that, like, I mean, you could kind of see the wheels turning and how that led to that happen. Like, she didn't leave in the best circumstance, because didn't
No.
she uh cut herself to bring her
Mhm.
back that
Yeah.
last time, the
Mm-hmm.
previous time? Yeah,
Well,
from
you
the
mean the
storm.
first time?
Or so with the time before the last time she got yanked back, when she
The
found
storm. She
Rufus
had to like
lying.
cut her wrists.
Yeah,
Right.
when Rufus slapped her and she ran to the bathroom and was like, I'm out of here.
Right. Okay. That one, I thought
Yeah.
that was on purpose to just.
Yeah.
She
That's
was
what I
like
thought.
the
Yeah,
To
it
letter
was on
yank,
ending
purpose.
but
all
I
of
mean,
it.
all
Okay.
the things that happened in that chapter with the storm of just Alice was telling her she was gonna escape. Alice was saying
Mm-hmm.
that Rufus wasn't gonna free her children and stuff like
Because
that.
Mm.
he
Like, and
never put
then
it down on paper.
Right.
He
And
was
she
like,
kept asking
I'm
him,
gonna do
like,
it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm
She's
gonna
like,
do
okay,
it.
write
I'm
it
gonna do it.
down. And he
Don't
was
worry
like,
about that.
I
But
will.
he was deceptive like that. We saw that
Yes.
yeah,
even
so
When he
when
was
manipulative.
didn't mail her letters.
yes, exactly,
Yeah,
when he did not
Even
mail
Like,
any
his
of the
dad was
letters.
like, why
what are you
wouldn't you
Why?
mail the
doing?
letters? You said that you were going to. Even if your
Mm-hmm.
promise was to a Negro, it was still a promise. He said you should have mailed the letters.
that's
I'm
true.
like, now you really should have known. What?
Hilarious.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I think we saw. I mean, I feel like that would be the eventual ending of Alice, just because, like,
Yeah,
from when we saw her original husband beat his ass and
I
they run away
said,
together, we knew they were gonna get caught.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
when
they
Rufus
cut
said,
his
"I'm not gonna say
ears
anything," they're
off.
gonna get caught.
Yeah.
Husband ears getting cut off, sold down Mississippi.
Ugh,
She was
never
eaten up
saw him
by the
again.
dogs, and as she's gaining her memory back, Rufus was just a piece of work, tell her to come to me or I'm gonna take it from her, like I'm gonna get it one way or another. And it's
like,
like,
help
And then
me.
turning around and being like, I love her. Why can't I have her? Like, what is going on
Be for
up
real.
here?
Like,
Be
Yeah,
seriously,
for real.
what's
he was
happening up
delusional.
here?
But I mean, white men in that
Oh,
time were delusional.
entitlement.
yeah,
Entitled
Entitlement
entitlement was
delusional
to
strong.
everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
through every
Yeah,
action, every
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
that pissed me off.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Dana did say, like, when she finally did decide to go to Rufus, because again, to me, like, her choice to either run away, be subjected to SA, or go to him willingly, like, that's a very difficult choice to make, like,
Mhm.
an impossible choice. So when she finally decided to kind of spare herself a little bit of pain and violence, Dana said,
And
like,
just
she
go.
could see her dying on the inside, literally
Yeah.
see it in her eyes. So,
That
that
was the
over time,
natural
it was gonna
progression.
happen. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
Mm.
when Dana did find Alice there, and she went into the house, and she was like, Alice is dead, and they were like, damn, like Rufus
Killed
finally
her.
got her, and they were like, she was like, no, I think she did it to herself. And they're like, no, like it
You
was
don't get
an
it.
Yeah.
overtime type thing. Like he was always going to be what
The
ended
reason.
her, the reason
Mhm.
that she finally had enough, and
Mhm.
it was just very sad to see. Like
Yeah.
Octavia Butler's books are always very heavy, but this one was like a lot because it was just like that juxtaposition of like someone who considers himself to be modern day, like she was working, she was
Mm-hmm.
in an interracial relationship, and now
Yeah.
So
you're
progressive, right?
right
Yanked
in the
back.
70s, and now you're
Right.
yanked back to seeing what your ancestors were subjected to. It was
Yeah.
it was just
And
a
getting all
lot.
those like slave narratives, there was just so many. Every time she went back, it was just like different slave narratives that you know, grow up hearing or you research yourself, and like to putting like what was read into actually like visualizing it and seeing it and
Yeah.
participating in it
Yeah.
is like, yeah,
And
I
she
thought that
did
was
say
really
that
unique.
like reading the slave narratives could never prepare you for the
Right.
visuals, for the
Mhm.
smells, for the
Right.
sounds.
Mhm.
Because reading it, visualizing it in your mind is one thing, but like
Seeing it
experience
firsthand.
that experience, no, thank
Crazy.
you.
No, thank you,
Yeah.
please.
Mm.
Whew. But so we all agree that, you know, Dana did, it wasn't a dub, but when she finally stabbed the mess out of Rufus, because he really was trying to essay her, and she said how many times she was like, please don't try to essay me, I will kill you.
And she meant
Period.
She
that.
did warn him.
She did.
Yeah.
And
So
he didn't
And he
listen.
continues to go on, and
So there
sorry
you
about it.
go.
Sorry about it.
yeah, she made the
Yeah,
right choice, especially because Hagar had
definitely.
already been born. So
Yeah.
Whew.
And
Right.
Hagar was safe up in Baltimore.
right.
Exactly.
So it's
So
like
my ancestors
you
She
can
alive.
good.
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally, there's no reason for us to still have this relationship, and that was
Hmm.
his arc, his character arc from
Yep.
beginning to end. But he's held on to her. I said,
Boy,
even
did
in
he.
death,
Like,
he
come
held on to
on.
your arm that hard. Couldn't yank it back when you
Like,
left.
he couldn't even let her go then.
Right. He couldn't even let her go then.
Mm.
Rufus loved him some Dana.
Ooh. Yeah,
Right.
he was the true villain. Him and his daddy.
Yeah. But them both dying and like, you know, Dana being able to go back to her time, and then her choice to immediately, the minute that she woke up in that hospital or whatever, she was like, I gotta get a ticket to Maryland. I gotta fly
Hmm.
in. Gotta see what's up.
Yeah.
Was BWI there? I don't know. But she
In the
flew in quick.
70s.
I don't
She
know.
flew in
She
quick,
flew in.
got a red eye, whatever, and was like, I've got to see this for myself. And for her to
Hmm.
actually like see it and see, oh, the house did burn down and Nigel did cover it up and his
Hmm.
body just so happened to be in there or whatever. Nothing came to the slaves, but I mean, they did have to
Be
sell,
so
be
sold.
sold.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, it was still better than them having to live with Rufus and what he had become.
But I think that's part of the reason why Dana didn't kill him sooner because she
Yeah,
knew
that was
that
a
if he
reason, and
died,
Rufus knew that too.
They
He
would be
used it
yeah,
as
he
yeah.
did.
leverage.
He used
Yeah.
absolutely he used it
Yeah.
as leverage.
He's like,
Absolutely.
well, what's gonna happen to them when I'm not here?
Yeah, get the right voice.
Yeah, you heard her switch it,
All right, had to get into character.
He
right?
said, Dana, what do you think is gonna happen if I
Like,
die?
I'm not here to protect
And
them.
It's like, well,
his little
no,
wannabe
like
savior complex.
Okay.
Ugh, delusion.
delusion
To the
at
Right.
nth
its
degree.
worst, I guess. I
Sheesh.
was interested in seeing how Dana and Kevin's relationship would have
Mm.
changed when they got home
Yeah.
because when they came back with him being gone those 5 years, I don't know what he had done in those 5 years, but he was just so
Different.
disoriented and so different. And she was telling him, she was like, everything
Mm.
is not going to come back all at once. You're going to be confused because you've been living literally in the 1700s for 5 years. Like, give yourself time. And he really pushed her away, which I thought was an interesting reaction. And I'm like, even when Dana was at her worst,
Yeah.
like experiencing her worst nightmares, I guess, from the past, was like she didn't push you away. Like she wasn't there as long as you were, but I thought his reaction was interesting compared
Mhm.
to hers. So I was interested in how their relationship changed
Yeah.
once she stopped, like disappearing to
Yeah.
another time period.
Because when he
True.
came back originally, he was like resentful of her, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
disgusted by
Mhm.
her, I'm
He
like,
was
what's that
having like
about?
the mean faces that she could only compare to like Rufus's expressions and like Rufus's dad's expression. I'm like, okay, he is kind of, aligning with them and
Mhm.
that viewpoint. It's like, why are you so mad?
What I do to
Right.
you?
She
Right.
screamed. She told him months ago, the minute that they got there, she said, if I scream, something's happening and you need to come get me. You need to come
But
with me.
Right.
I'm
I wish he
telling you
would have
right now.
just been around her
You need to come
more.
with me. I'm
I wish he
telling you
would have
right now.
just been around her
So much more.
more.
Constantly.
Literally
Yeah.
have eyes on her at all times. You literally can't let her out of your sight if you can help it.
I
Because
know,
she
but
could
he
get
was
pulled at any second.
anytime. But then they
And she
were
was.
so separated when they got there. Like she could barely
Yeah.
like be in a room with him. Remember, Rufus's mom would be like, "Where are you sleeping
You
at
black,
night? Don't worry about it."
you black.
Oh,
I'm a
his mother.
Christian. This is a Christian house.
Some
She
Christian
wanted
household you're
Kevin
running.
for herself
Right.
so bad. Like,
She was
girl.
like, that's disgusting. Blacks and whites together. She said, ugh.
It should be me.
Did you want Kevin?
I think she did.
She did.
I
Like
think
she
he
was
did
She was
putting
like
too.
advances
flirting
on
with
him. Or...
him.
Yeah.
And
Because her
remember, I don't know,
husband was essing
was
slaves left and right and having
right.
kids by them and
Yeah.
everything. And she was just having to watch that. And she, the resentment is just building and building. And that's what a lot of,
Yeah.
slave
That's
masters' wives dealt with.
And they
Yep.
would
And they
then
just
sell off
turned all
the
that
women and the
that
children.
displaced anger onto the slaves and other black people around instead of actually addressing it with their husbands,
Ooh, that sounds
mm,
familiar, child. I tell
men.
you.
Hmm.
mm.
Mm.
Well,
It was really funny to me when anytime they'd be like some Miss Margaret, and I forgot what her name is, but she'd be
I'd be
like,
like,
what was her
Yeah.
name?
that was my
The
favorite.
cook was it
The cook.
Carrie? No, that wasn't Carrie.
No.
I can't remember her name.
Whatever the cook's name was, she did not like Margaret.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I forgot, she would say that every
Every
time
time.
Every
her
time.
name was even called.
Bitch.
But Margaret had sold off
Her
All her
kids.
Yes.
children.
kids.
This
So
is
that's why
very
she was
true.
like,
So,
honestly, I'm
Except
surprised she
Carrie.
wasn't poisoning that
and that's what
woman.
Dana said too. Dana was
She
like,
said
Why
they
don't you
never
do
them
that?
know.
all out.
She could have taken them all out.
But I guess it's like if you don't know where you're gonna go next,
Right.
Yeah.
like this could
The
not be that
unknown.
bad. Like the
Unknown
That's
unknown
evil.
true. Because
is-
remember, they were still technically towards the north in
Yeah.
Merlin.
I
Could have been a
literally
lot
had to
worse.
have Ernest like map that for me because I mean you would follow the North Star to try and get to the Mason Dixon from even Ocean City, Salisbury area. But like I was like, okay, it would directly still be north. And I was like, how long would the walk be on like Google Maps? And it was like days.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I'm like, even if you tried, like the way Alice was trying to describe it, she was like, you hungry, you got dogs chasing after you, you are so
Tired. You can't walk.
tired, you can't sleep, you can't light a fire, you're cold, you're dirty, you're wet, and
Mm.
you just have the fear of being caught like nonstop. And it's days of this.
Yeah.
Like, and
Mm.
it's just is so much to even try and think about escaping.
I mean,
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
like, even if you drive down BWI Parkway,
Child.
all of the dense vegetation on the sides of imagine trying to trek through that.
And not get turned around.
And
We
if y'all
Girl.
drive through it at night, you know how dark it
It's
is over there.
pitch
It's
black
pitch
dark.
black.
dark.
we
Yes.
would
They don't have
literally
lights over there, so
have these conversations in college, like us four would literally be on the road, and like that would always be my thought, like, oh my gosh, if this was in the 1700s, like could we even walk to the store? Like that whole distance would have just been so long.
I would
Yeah.
have
And we
needed
thought
a.
that
I would have
immediately
needed a
when we moved
note.
to Maryland. Like I still think that driving through Baltimore, like all this brick, all these big homes, like you see these, plantations
Mm.
and all these buildings, and just having to think that, it was dense vegetation and you had to walk through that if you wanted to
Yeah.
get anywhere. Trying to find the North Star in the middle of the forest is not that
Not
easy.
easy.
I'll
I
let you know
live
right
not
now.
far from one,
Can't find the North
honestly,
Star. From a North Star?
from a plantation.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Please. Very strange. Very strange to be from California, a black person from California, born and raised, come to the South. This is
Mhm.
like a very interesting life experience.
Definitely. And I do think that everyone, every Black person who lives in California, born and raised on the West Coast, should experience and see this for themselves just to relate to what your ancestors had to go through and what they had to see and visualize just once. There's so many people that I know in California that have never been outside of California that literally I couldn't if I even asked them a southern state or a city in a southern state, they couldn't even tell me. You know how many people don't even know where Baltimore, Maryland is, or Baltimore is in Maryland? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot. And I
Wow.
do think that every, Black person that doesn't live in the South should experience that and see them for themselves just to relate, just to connect themselves with their past at least once.
True, true,
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
Facts. So what did y'all give this book?
I think
So I read, like I said, I read this before in high school. This was like my first introduction
So
to
literally
Octavia
10 years.
Butler, Black literature. This was my intro. So for me,
Love
this
that.
book is always 5 stars.
Oh, it didn't change. I love
No.
that.
oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
this
okay.
This is definitely one of those books that it is a this is not a I don't even know
I
how
think
to
it is a classic.
classic. It's a classic.
I think it's a
Yeah,
Black literary classic.
I think so. This was 1970s.
Okay.
Octavia Butler's heavy hitter, you know, super big sci-fi Hugo Award winner, you
Well,
know.
and because movies like there's other movies and obviously TV shows that have been modeled after this. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I would
that's
classify it as a
true.
classic for sure.
I think I ended up giving it a five. I rounded up to five because I gave it like a 4.5, but that was only because I just I wanted to see a little bit more at the end. Like I wanted to see like what I don't remember, was it you, Aziza, who was wanted to see like her and Kevin's relationship and kind of how it changed a little bit. Like I wanted just a little bit more in the epilogue, you
A
You
know?
little bit
always
more
want a
like
little bit more.
I
reflection.
always want a little bit more in the epilogue, but I just wanted a little
Yeah,
bit more just to see, you know? But this it was really good. This is a fantastic read.
facts, facts, facts.
What about you,
Wait,
Alex?
well, this is my first read of Octavia Butler. So I was really just impressed with just like the building, the world building, the building of the plot, like trying to figure it out. I thought the concept was crazy, and the fact that this concept has been revamped and redone so many different times in so many different movies. I had to give it 5 stars because like it was just so unique and such like a trendsetter. It was, and the fact that this was written in the 70s, like this is one of, I don't read old books like that, so I was just kind of blown away and just seeing like the ties that it has with other movies and other, Black media and stuff. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like Jordan Peele would have done the out of this remake. And like other directors like
True.
that, like I'm like they would have just done it. And the fact that it's just coming out and like literally I didn't even know it was coming out on Hulu. And the minute that I finished it, like a ad came on like YouTube or
Mhm.
something, and I seen it. And I was like, oh, can you believe the
The
timing? It's just
timing.
perfect. I was like, I had to give it 5 stars. It was just this whole feeling, this whole time. I had to give it 5 stars.
Okay.
What about
I
you,
gave
Aziza?
this 4 stars. Um,
That's more than I thought you would give it. Because you
yeah,
was
I
eating this
didn't.
book up. You was just reading it to filth at
Mhm.
times.
I was okay because
This slave
first of
book.
all, you know how I feel about slave books. Okay, but I'm a
Hold
huge
on.
Octavia Butler fan.
Aziza is the one, she can't stand reading about slavery, anything that has to do with it. She hates it. But then she also be wanting to read the books that we want to read, and
And
Because
we
they
we're
leave
love
me, they'll
suckers.
leave me behind
we're
otherwise,
sorry.
and then they'll be like talking about a book, and I
We
haven't
get
read it.
into it.
So
We be
obviously,
getting
I'll
We're
just
into
have
it.
to
sorry.
read it and get over it.
Well,
So
granted, we all do love historical fictions, but
Yeah.
what we love more is Black people in historical fictions, and
Period.
what
Just
we're
so
left with is
happens.
a lot of slave narrative, like books.
right,
It just is what happens. Yeah.
gosh, so
We love historicals, though. Can't
we
get enough.
do.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, no, I gave this one a 4. Um, I didn't hate it, but this is the seventh Octavia Butler book I've
Mm.
read, and it's also the oldest Octavia Butler book I've read, so it just wasn't my favorite from hers. But it was still a good read. Very interesting concept. Like we've seen, like oh, like I'm back in time. Like ooh, like no, this is different.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um, I still, of course, thought it was very well done. She's one of my favorite authors for a reason. The way she can really just take you into the world
Yeah.
that she's created. Um, but yeah, 4 stars for me. I'm excited to read some of her other works because I feel like this is one of the only books that she's written that has like that's like this. Her other
Mm,
ones are a little more closely related and stronger on the sci-fi,
yeah.
but yeah, solid 4 stars.
Is this her only like book that's not a part of a series?
No, she still has Bloodchild and Dawn, which I don't
Okay, and
believe.
those are
I think
just
those are
single novels.
standalones.
Standalones.
Oh,
Yeah.
standalone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Okay,
those
I
are
didn't realize
standalones.
this was such like one of her earlier works. I really didn't know that.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because we was just
Right.
talking about how those first author like
It'd be
publishings, you'd
it'd
be
be
like,
kind of rough.
what's happening?
Sometimes, but it's like there's no at this point. It's
But
like there's
hers,
no in between. Either they're like knockout,
amazing. Right.
incredible,
Right.
or I'm
Or
like
it's questionable.
maybe they'll get better.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. But
so this
as
was
like one of her
very well
earliest
done.
works,
So
is
this was like her debut.
was
No,
I
this
it's
her
don't
not her
know if it was
debut.
her
No.
debut.
It's
Oh.
not her debut,
I was
but it's
like,
definitely
get
one of her
out of
It's
here.
one
earlier.
of her earlier ones, though,
Mhm.
'Cause
right?
Oh, okay.
I think like mid 70s is when she started writing. So this is like earlier in her career, like
Oh, that's
Hmm.
cool.
fairly early.
Yeah.
We should find out what her first book actually was. Let's do some research. We could probably insert it.
Well,
It's the
19.
Pattern
So,
Master.
oh,
The
The
pattern.
Pattern
her
Yeah.
Pattern
Master.
Master series. Okay, that one is on my list.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but that's going to be interesting to read because I think that is actually closer to some of the other series of hers
Mm.
I've read. Like I don't think it's actually called the Wild Seed series, but the Wild Seed series,
I
especially the
think it is
first
called that.
book. Okay, perfect. So then the first in that is Wild Seed,
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. That book is so good. That book was so good. Where's that damn book? Damn, I don't even have it behind me. That book was
Ah.
so good.
Let me show y'all.
It was just so well done. And then there was 3 other ones in it which were also interesting, which it's like Clay's arc and then something else. But that first one,
Mm.
excellent.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Okay.
And that was
Good
like
for
the
her.
first Octavia Butler book I read. So I got a really nice introduction because I think if I had started with Kindred, I might not have gone back
Picked
to
up the
read some
rest.
of her other stuff. But
Mm.
I mean, overall, we're huge fans of Miss Butler,
Yeah.
but
Shout out
y'all let
Octavia
us
Butler.
know.
RIP to a real one.
Mm.
For real. But y'all let us know what you think in the comments. If you've read this book, how did you like it? Do you agree with some of our observations? You disagree?
Right.
If
Do
you
you
haven't
like
read it, did
Dana?
it
Are
convince
you
you?
into her? Is she your type of girl? Tell us what you think.
Team Alice, Team Dana. Put it in the
Team Alice,
comments
Team
below.
Dana, Rufus, his dad.
Always.
Always.
Hashtag Rufus.
All right, that is it for another episode of the Reading Black Girls podcast. We will check y'all later.
Bye.
Wait,
We're
wait.
on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh. Fuck 'em up. Fuck 'em up. Fuck 'em up.
Is that the
Hey.
battle?
Yeah.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Brazilian kids be going off.
They be going off,
They going off.
that's a lot.
but it is the same routine.
It's the same routine.
Yeah.
It's the same song
Every
every
time.
single time.
Really?
I
And
love
once you watch
the
one,
routine.
it just keeps popping up on your TO.
Oh, it's like I need to find the one to watch.
It's okay.
Once, literally, I only
send it
saw
to you.
one, and now I've seen
Person,
at
send it
least
to me on the
10.
talk.
On the talk, on the TikTok, on the
Yeah, on the
I think
talk.
Well-
the Clocky app. Oh, follow
What's the
us on
talk?
TikTok at the Reading Black Girls. We post like every 3 months, but now we're posting every other week.
But we be in there.
We be on it.
Y'all
We be in
know,
there.
y'all know we're millennials, not Gen Zers. So
Yeah.
that
True,
explains
true.
enough.
I don't think anyone thought that we were Gen Zers.
No, someone tried to call me a Gen Zer. I'm like, I'm 95.
Who? Right. Who tried to call you a Gen
Right.
Zer? No,
Some
who?
some old person I know. Not
know,
old,
old
old,
people-
but they're a few years
Yeah.
older, like
Old people
92,
still think we're
91.
young. Older people
Oh.
still think we're young.
And it's like,
Younger
yeah, but
people
I
think
have back
we're-
problems.
Yeah.
That's because you don't stretch.
Let me tell you, Aziz has been on this whole stretching kick.
No,
here,
Stretching is
Aziz onto
important.
something.
but
Aziz is
she's
onto
right. But that's her solution to.
I mean, I don't
basically
stretch
everything.
that and ginger tea.
Yeah.
It is
Oh, yeah,
a
ginger tea is
cure all.
Important.
Nothing in it, just the green ginger tea from Tazo.
Fantastic.
Yummy.
It saved me so many times. Well, I don't think
Yeah.
it's good, but I have trained my body to drink plain green tea so that when I go to Japan, I'll never have to be like, "Can I get some honey and no, give it to
Oh.
me. Just put the leaf in the water and I'll
Uh-huh.
drink it just like that."
Perfect.
There's this brand, they're called
Yeah.
like Big something.
Yeah.
Can't remember. They have a ginger tea that's like really, really good. It's a little strong.
I've got to
But
get my
when you're
hands on it.
sick, that tea, chef's kiss.
I've never had it.
It's
Well, she
great.
didn't even give us
put-
the full name.
Yeah.
All she said was big something.
It's big something. It's yellow. It's a yellow
Do you
box.
know how unhelpful that is?
If you go to the grocery store aisle with the tea, look for a yellow box. It'll say ginger.
You want me to look
Pick
for
it
a
up.
yellow box that
Ginger.
says ginger?
In the tea aisle specifically.
No shit. I'm gonna go to the tea.
Yes.
Okay, I might even go
She's
to
gonna
today.
fact check you.
I
And
really want you to. I
and then
really
my-
call
want
you.
to.
Is there a
She's gonna call
specific
you.
FaceTime me.
store?
Say that again.
Is there a specific store, or can I go to Gian?
What is that?
Giant.
You know, Caleb,
No,
Caleb,
they
do
don't
y'all
have
even have giants?
No, we don't have
No,
giant
they
out here.
don't.
They only have
All they
the
have is
Kroger.
a freaking
Fine.
Kroger.
Kroger and
Okay.
Aldi. Yeah.
Aldi's not French.
Yeah, it's German.
Neither is
Come on.
Kroger.
Because you know how Denisha
Kroger.
feels about that. I didn't do Kroger in a French accent,
I did both in a French accent.
and one was wrong.
Both are
Kylie.
wrong.
She was trying
Both
to be
are
fair.
wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, both are wrong.
Okay.
We're just
You're
going
right.
with
They
it.
were both wrong, but it was the Aldi that I really didn't like because I know Aldi is a German store.
Well,
Thank
say
you.
say Aldi in a German accent.
Aldi.
I was gonna say you must be talking to me.
No, I was
can't do a
talking to
German-
Aziza. No,
I didn't know how to
do
do a
German
German
accent.
accent.
no, I want to
never
hear
used
Aziza
German
try.
You know, I was trying to learn German from Niche, and she basically refused to teach me.
It's
I only
not
know a few
true.
words.
Remember,
I'll
she
see
would
the
do
same-
like a word of
I'll
the
see
day.
same- Yeah, and then when I didn't get it
Stopped.
right, she would stop. And the
Yeah.
ich liebe dich. I do know that.
EKVD.
Ich liebe dich.
Okay. Perfect.
Easy
See, it's enough.
button.
It's
We're
enough.
international
Autobahn.
girls, in case y'all didn't know.
Einbahnstraßen.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
What's that?
Like
That
a
is-
one-way
yeah.
street. Yeah.
Okay, Kayla, Miss
Wow.
International Girl.
Go ahead and
said,
add the
"Put her
German
on the
flag to your
Autobahn."
bio.
We're on the road.
Okay,
Don't make me
now
scream.
we've taken it too far. Okay,
Oh.
you have to learn a few more words, and then maybe.
You have
It's
to
okay.
teach us.
Okay.
She won't even speak in German to her mom when I'm there, y'all.
Why
So
not?
that- I don't know. It's like she wants
Well-
to keep the language a secret from me.
When I have her on speaker, I just feel like Aziza should be a part of the conversation. You know?
She doesn't want to exclude you.
Yeah.
That's fine, but
I'm nice.
I would
Nice
rather
like
learn
that.
German from people who speak it.
You can ask my mom. She'll send you literally a word of the
I
day
don't want to
and a
ask
recording.
Oh,
Never mind.
that's
I will ask
good.
her because
That's
it's
good.
really cute. I will ask her.
Can you put us in a group chat with your mom?
No.
Sure.
Because I want the word of the day too.
Okay. I'll put it on my to-do list.
Thank
It's
you.
on there.
Great.
She did not add anything. If you didn't want to do it, you could have just said
It's
that.
on there. I just put it on there.
Denisha, stop lying.
I'm not lying.
Denisha has the memory of who has a strong memory? An elephant.
Elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her level. Of
Thank
memory
you,
right now.
Alex. Thank
That's
you.
impressive.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Denisha never really forgets things.
Interesting.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
does
I
have
can't
y'all
talk
know.
because I have the memory of Dory, so I guess I can't say anything. You don't have to shake your head so hard.
Who's at the door?
Package for moi. Let's
Who's at
check
the
our
door?
Let's check our
see.
Ring camera.
Don't be
No
too
niche
loud.
file
They'll know we're
checker.
home.
I've been yelling this whole time. I don't have any. Let's see.
Who
It
out
looks
do?
like some mail.
No, that's
Is
the
she still-
lady. Look, that's
Oh,
the
that's the
lady
lady.
who came
Y'all,
by.
okay.
We think it's the census or a survey
It's
of
not
some
the
sort.
census. It's a survey from like some researchers. Now, I am interested in participating in this survey, but clearly now is not a good time. So we're gonna act as though we're not home, and hopefully she just skedaddles on out of here.
Well, don't worry, I'm watching her. She's leaving. Well,
Good, good.
nope, she's still there. Yeah.
Ooh, she's knocking.
She's very persistent. Let me tell you right now, I don't like that. Okay, I want you to quit because I'm not coming out.
Tell her to get off of your Caucasian porch.
And I know some people are thinking, gosh, why don't you just tell her now's not a good time? That would require me to get up. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
She's going to have to read the room and take a hint.
Oh,
She leaving?
yeah, she's leaving.
She already left
right.
her card yesterday,
Fabulous.
so
Okay,
now,
she's gone.
all right, perfect.
Okay.
Fabulous.
5, 4, 3, 2. Brrrah.